I'm going to rephrase this because it's questionable whether Elon Musk, within the realities of possible criminal offenses that we know, would even within those crimes be under the jurisdiction of The Hague, which is the International Criminal Court. It's important to note the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, and that is criminal. So they take care of the incidents of genocide, incidents of war crimes, and incidents of crimes against humanity. That is in the nature of conflict. That is in the nature of armed conflict, not necessarily in election interference. So the question rather becomes not can the case be taken to The Hague, but can it be taken to the international courts? Specifically, the International Court of Justice, or the World Court, which is a civil tribunal that hears disputes between countries. The ICJ is the much more realistic one within the reality of Elon Musk. So now that we've eliminated The Hague from even being in consideration of having jurisdiction over anything in regards to Elon Musk, we have now shortened that to the International Court of Justice. However, in my last video, I positioned that even if that reality where Jack Smith would be capable of bringing up something in relations to Trump or Elon Musk, it has no jurisdiction over the United States. This is true about both the ICC and the ICJ. We actually led on the creation of the International Criminal Court because we understood that it was something that was necessary and we had to hold people accountable for the crimes that they commit on a global scale. However, when it came down to signing it, the United States was like, the Constitution is the law of the land. We're not going to be a member to it. So we're not a member to it. We're not under the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court or the International Court of Justice. Why would they allow this? Well, basically, we prosecute global crime perpetrators of American citizenship through our own American courts. Questionable the success of it. However, this is why we are not under the jurisdiction of international law, because it's assumed that we have the capable infrastructure to be capable of upholding a law and order. We also have this with G-side, which is truly why HR 24 is being positioned, because why? They don't want the United States to participate in investigations with the international court. Why? Because it's beneficial for America to continue to support that country that is committing apartheid on Palestine. Why? Because it's very difficult to actually measure what exactly is G-side, and there has to be a consensus, and that consensus does not exist. It's why the ICC position a warrant for war crimes and not G-side, because it's much more difficult to prove G-side. The only reason we proved G-side in Germany was because Americans actually went in and found the camps, right? There was evidence basically before that. However, that was like hearsay. Can you really prove it? No, you have to actually go and find the evidence. So G-side is really hard to prove, but we hold it under our penal codes to prove that we can actually take care of our crimes, right? However, this is arbitrary, which means that the United States can basically decide when it's gonna do what, and usually it doesn't want to make America look bad by positioning an American war criminal or an American criminal of the global stage. So with U.S. citizenship, if the United States does not itself take criminal action against EM in the potential of a hypothetical influence of certain things, then the international courts have no jurisdiction over him. However, a commenter reminded me of something very important. There's evidence that Elon Musk actually got his citizenship and his status on false pretense. Within that reality, that is lying in your process of getting that status, which means that it can be argued that he can be denaturalized in that reality where he is defaulted to just his South African citizenship. Then yes, the International Court of Justice can have jurisdiction over Elon Musk, depending on what they want to push, but it's kind of difficult because, and it's very unprecedented because it's supposed to be between states. So what are you going to blame South Africa? And I'm actually going to research this because it's an interesting intersection, right? However, I also don't want to necessarily eliminate the ICC entirely because it grows as global crimes are growing. So once upon a time, G-side wasn't a crime and they were like, this is really bad, we should add it as a crime. Could it be that global manipulation of federal elections can be such a jurisdiction that is introduced into the International Criminal Court? That is a great question. I don't have that authority to do so. However, it can also be true that ICC is capable of doing such a thing, and the reality where Elon Musk is denaturalized and South Africa helps in that upholding of the global rule of law and global peace and security. However, the most realistic take is that it has to be done through American courts. And honestly, within that reality, it's very possible that if there is significant evidence of hypothetical wrongdoing in our election ethics, in our election integrity, it can be argued that in order to actually provide restitution to the American people, given such a supreme violation of our contract and a very close dissolution of this social contract, it can be argued to nationalize all of Elon Musk American companies. And I would love to see that, honestly. But the best bet is American courts. Obviously, that's assuming that supreme law wins before January 20 and Donald Trump does not become president, because in that reality where he is, why would Elon Musk want to leave anywhere? Why would Donald Trump remove his citizenship? It doesn't make sense. Like, we can experiment with all of these possibilities, but if they're not founded in the actual realistic practice, and we're just wasting our time. Like the reality that, yes, the executive order does extend beyond January 20. However, on January 20, he becomes the head of the three-letter agencies, and then he also has immunity. The realistic assumption is that any of those cases are just going to be swept under the rug or evidence destroyed. So honestly, this really depends on what happens on January 20. With South African citizenship alone, like he gets his citizenship removed, then possible, it's going to take some legal innovation, but possible to be under the international court because South Africa is both a party to the ICC and the ICJ.